Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. And if you're new here, my name is Skylar Santana. And on this channel, we talk about all things watch related. And today we're taking a look at a watch from Tandorio. It is a homage watch of Serica watches. But what interested me about the watch the most was the fact that it had a PT 5000 movement. I am at the point in my watch collecting journey where I'm taking a look at other movements outside of the NH. I'm really curious to see what I could find out there with Solitas and Miyotas. So I was heavily interested in taking a look at this Tandorio. Now this is the TD225. So let's take a look first at the specifications. Kicking things off with some specifications found on my own calibers, we have a 40.4 millimeter diameter, a lug to lug of 48 millimeters, a thickness of 13.8 millimeters, a lug width strap friendly 20 millimeters. The crown is 7.4 millimeters. It has a weight of 163 grams, fully linked. It is in fact stainless steel. We have a sapphire crystal, resistance of 20 bar, and the movement in fact is the PT 5000. Now I've done some research on this movement. I've tried to look up as much things that I could. I wanted to get a better understanding, and from what I gather, this is the PT 5000, which is a Chinese mechanical movement made in Hong Kong precision technology, and the average price of the movement will be from $40 to $60 range. It's a clone of the ETA 2824-2 movement with similar specifications, more familiar with clones of the Solita SW200-1 and the Seagull ST2130. It has 28,800 vibrations per hour, 4 hertz, 25 joules, a power reserve of 38 hours, a date complication at the 3 o'clock, which in this case, we are gonna get a ghost wheel date. I know that bothers some people, but hey, it is what it is. And it's plus or minus 12 seconds per day. No wobbly feeling on the rotor like you would find on most Miyota movements. Now, what piqued my interest the most about the movement was the fact that it is a high beat movement. It's a high beat caliber, and it's still at an affordable range, and it is mimicking the 2824-2 of ETA. So why don't we find this movement utilized more so by other brands and other companies? Well, from what I gathered, and this is a general knowledge here, if you guys know more about the movement, please let me know in the comments below, especially if you're a watchmaker. But from what I gather, the movement isn't as well produced as other movements from other manufacturers. There are some tolerance issues with things not being lubricated enough or it just not having the longevity. However, it does function out of the box and into the movement brand new decently well. How well they add up or how well that they last is the question. And in fact, so I think that there is a trust issue with the longevity of the movement in a general sense, not saying this one that has been put into it by Tandorio, but in that PT 5000 movement in general. Taking a look now at the bracelet, it has female end links, it's flush to the case and the inner lugs. It has a butterfly push deployment clasp. It is a 3-link friction fitted split pins. It's polished on the large center link with vertical brushing on the small end links, matching the case's finishing. It is a little jingle jangly, having a loose tolerance between the lugs. It has smooth edges, however. It tapers from a 20 millimeter to an 18 millimeter taper down to the butterfly clasp, and it has actually 2 half links included. Bravo, bravo, bravo. I've always mentioned this. When you're doing a bracelet like this with a butterfly clasp, I've always said that you need to include 2 half links, and they have done it. Well done. The case back is screw down, circular brushing. It has engraved specification text within it. And from this angle, underneath the lugs, we can see that there is polishing on the underside. The crown is very easy to grip. It has a decent coin edge knurling. It has a thin interior profile once you screw the crown down. It is polished and it is sterile of any engraving. We find horizontal brushing on the sides, leading into the very nice polished transition to the sides of the lugs. Combined with vertical brushing on the top of the lugs to give a nice twisted inward illusion that matches the vertical brushing on the end of the link of the flush bracelet to the end links. There's a very nice polished bevel on the underside of the case leading into the brushed case back. For the bezel, we have a coined edge knurling that matches the crown. It's a dual layered diver style bezel. Minute markers are painted in beige on the outside, brushed stainless steel closer to the crystal, hours painted in black at the 1 o'clock position, and we find the text of minutes, and here is in the corresponding color. At the 12 o'clock position, we find a loomed pip, and it is ever so slightly misaligned, something that we do find in the tolerance of affordable watches. And the bezel does have a good tolerance with its turn, but the clicks are not the crispiest sound, but not that bad either. The crystal to the watch is domed and sapphire, but it appears to not have any anti-reflective coating, and glare does pose to be a bit of a challenge. For time rating, we have dolphin style minute and hour hands with an arrow tip towards it, a spear shaped second hand, and all of which has been loomed with C3 in a cream color. The dial begins at the edge painted in black, using white negative space to create the markers for the minutes, with cream bars at the 3, 6, 9, and 12 having cream dots flanking the cream color bar. In totality, it gives off a chapter ring resemblance, and in my own opinion has been executed well. The indexes are to follow in a cream color combined with a Roman Arabic bars and triangles at the 12, outlined in a thin black painted background by a white circular canvas. And finally, at the very center, there is a large circle of black. On the model that I have chosen, I have opted for a sterile logo at the 12, but we can find the watch's depth rating in a cream painted and automatic in a white paint at the 6 o'clock position. Taking a step back from the dial as a whole, it's difficult not to get the impression of a widened pupil of an eye, and once you see it, it can't be unseen. Yes, pun intended. For nocturnal adaptation, we have C3 lume on the pip, hands, and indices. The hands and the pip seem to have the least amount of material to it, with the indices receiving the most. It's good for a quick adaptation short term, but doesn't come close to lasting throughout the night. The watch is effectively $125 USD, and I'll leave a link in the description where you guys can find it. Let me know what your guys' experience is with the PT5000 movement. Let me know if that movement has held up over time for you, or if you have an additional information about it. But either way, I appreciate you guys for checking out the video and spending your most valuable asset, which is time, and I hope to see you in the next one.